evolving. That's the word. Evolving. And is he go?
He's ready.
All right, go ahead. Hit record because I like the banner these conversations like this. Then, like just how music is evolving, how the world is evolving, and how hard is it for you to evolve, if it's hard at all?
Well, you know what? I think it's hard because when you are the time before the evolution, whoever's there before and whoever's after, and I guess since we're doing it, it's always like changing, right? Mm-hmm. But like while the evolution is happening inside of you, you can't really assess it.
Okay.
Because you got to participate. Mm-hmm. If you're a participator, if you're a person who's like, all right, well, this world is something that I want to be a part of. When they're like, I was born in 1982. Mm-hmm. Like, what's different from 1982 to 2024? Well, Johnathan Michel's been around.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, when it comes to that, yeah, things are changing. The way that we do business in general is changing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's an evolution. So there's a lot of what we would call the older sort of mentality and practices that are still a part of what's going on as things are changing. So, or some of the things you have to still think about. So you're not making, one of the things that we think about is you don't make as much money off of the units that you sell.
Like it used to be.
Like it used to be.
Right.
So the units that you sold and you're touring kind of paid, like you could sell units and like help pay for things.
Right.
You can't do that anymore, but you still got to buy tickets for the tour, airplane tickets that have gone up.
Yeah.
You still got to feed the cats on the road.
Yep. That's
gone up.
Right.
So that's something that's changed, that's evolved. Mm-hmm. And I'm still like, I'm 10 toes down, baby.
Right. You still you're in.
I'm still in it.
Yeah.
I'm still in it. And depending on where you are on the journey, maybe it doesn't serve you.
Right.
Or it serves you to be in a different part of the thing. I've met somebody recently who spent a long time on the road, and he was like, this ain't for me no more. And that's okay.
Now, what's a long time? What was a long time?
Like 35 years.
Oh, and that happens, right?
Yeah.
Life expectancy of someone torn might be around that. I'm not sure.
Sure, and he was like, all right, well, now then he just shifted gears. Mm-hmm. He evolved, and he was like, man, he had a child late in life, and he was like, I want to be here every day.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do this. He
paid his dues.
He paid. So it's like the world is evolving, and it can be tough when with music, because you've been doing it usually since you were at least a pre-20-year-old.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time that this thing's been in your life.
Yeah.
And to think about, this is how I'm gonna feed myself and my family, like the pressures change, and then it becomes, okay, how do I make some money?
Yeah.
And play my acts.
Yeah.
And grow and be an artist if I want to be, and all those things. The evolution of it all has. I can only speak to my life, but to know what I know now about the industry, and thinking about my heroes and my mentors and what they were. It's not that that's where it's not that different. Mm-hmm. Record deals are record deals.
It's still the same.
It's still the same.
You take this Cadillac, sign your life over, boom, boom, boom. Oh, by the way, we paid for it.
15 years later, hey man, you still owe me 4 records. You haven't recouped on your first one. Yeah. That's still happening.
Yeah.
But the difference is, and this is what I was saying before we started to you, we have an opportunity to be like, nah, we good. Hey, bro, I could just plug in my iPad
and do it.
Cut a record, mix and master. And yeah, you're right. I don't have the reach of XYZ.
Right.
But really, what's the difference between me reaching your 100,000 and me reaching my 50?
And you know what? And Ryan Leslie talked about that. I remember when I first started, right? He was talking about how he could take, and I can't remember the amount of the number that he was talking about, but he was saying if I just catered to just say the 50,000, right? And have concerts and just to the 50,000 or New Year's Eve events, and it costs say $1,000 a ticket. 20 of them going to show up at $1,000. So it's all about the mathematics, right?
It's all about the mathematics.
Yeah, and you understanding not just being an artist, but being an artist and a business person inside of it. Are you both?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be. You have to be in this country specifically. You have to have a very, very clear understanding of the corporate structure and the corporate mindset.
Yeah.
Because this conversation you're having, you tighten up those numbers just a little bit, you could probably go talk to somebody and be like, look, these are the 350 people I know who will spend this X amount of dollars.
Right.
What can we do together?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That way, and then you cook that up, and then you got the band on the other side, we ready to go. It's like, oh, okay, we can, it's product, it's all of that, but it's hard to use that word corporate around artistry.
Yeah.
Because in the bringing up of it, there's such a purity to the calling and to the notes and to the original part of us who the art is.
Yeah.
That to use that word could seem to be sullying it a bit.
Yeah.
But we have a responsibility to spread the word.
Right.
And it's only through partnerships and through, media. Some of these words to some artists are very
stranger danger,
exactly. And they should be at a level where you gotta make sure that everything is aligning. And so that takes time. And it takes patience. And that's not what people don't always have that.
And people don't even have a lot of people don't even have the love for it, right? And that's the difference. You have people that says, "Oh, I'm an artist or I make music," right? And you're like, "No, this exactly. You make music. No, we live music. We live this, right? Like, and it's a difference. And with you, with your amazing background, you're one of the most proclaimed contemporary jazz artists out here,
Thank
right?
you, man. I appreciate that.
And just watching you on stage. And if you're tuning in, I know you just hopped into the conversation that we had. This is DETV Music. I'm your man, Big Eye, the talk of the town. And I have the privilege and the honor to sit here with Johnathan Michel, who performed at the 37th annual Clifford Brown Jazz Festival here in Wilmington, Delaware. And and you're eavesdropping on a conversation, so we're gonna just act like you're not here. All right. So like when you hit that stage yesterday, man, you saw what I called weirdos, right?
Yeah.
I'm a weirdo, right?
Yeah.
I do things because I love it. I create when I create. I create when source tells me to create, right? Or I'm inspired to create.
Yeah.
And I noticed that, and weirdo and creative genius knows weirdo and creative genius.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Without any introduction. And when I saw you in your quartet, like y'all tapped into something yesterday. Y'all was in a place yesterday, and it was like one of the things my grandmom used to say is like, I'm home. Right? Your music is I'm home. Right?
That's beautiful.
For the people that don't know who you are, and shame on you. Shame on me too, right? Shame on you. But now he's on my playlist. Describe your music.
Oh man, my music, I would say, is, what did I say yesterday? It's like a barbecue, church, Juneteenth, history lesson party. What's interesting for me is that last night's show, while the music was probably was definitely not a program I presented before, but the messages are all the same. If you came to another show of mine, I'm talking about ancestry. I'm talking about blackness. I'm talking about Philadelphia.
Okay.
I'm talking about the things that shaped me.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about having a party and dancing.
Yeah.
And you can't be sitting there, just. I mean, if just sitting there is how you express joy, that's cool. But I want to make sure that.
Oh, they weren't sitting there.
They weren't. So it's like it's really important for me, because that's the way that I experience music. When I was coming up, I guess, between church and good records and, home and all these different spaces where it was, oh yeah, this is what music sounds like.
And home is Philadelphia.
No.
Okay, where's home?
So my hometown is Waterbury, Connecticut.
Okay.
And my parents immigrated there from Haiti.
Okay.
And so I was born and raised there, and I went to college there. And then after college, I moved to Philly.
Okay.
And I lived in Philly from 2005 until about 2012, 2013. And then I moved to New York.
Okay. So what was it like growing up in Connecticut on a Sunday morning or Saturday morning and a Sunday morning in your house?
Sure. A Saturday morning was definitely, we was cleaning. We was cleaning.
Right.
And then I used to be part of the Waterbury Youth Symphony.
Okay.
I played trombone.
So you started young.
Oh, I was playing music at 4 years old, man.
Okay.
My dad put a guitar in my hand at 4 years old.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we would do that, and playing in the yard, doing that. But Sunday, so we lived in Waterbury, but the church that I went to was in Norwalk, Connecticut. We went to a Haitian church around a Haitian community. There weren't many Haitians in Waterbury, so we would drive down. And in the southern Connecticut area, there's a large Haitian population.
Okay.
So we would go down there. We spend all day. So we'd go down there for Sunday school. I'd play for the little thing, and then I'd play for the service, and then we'd hang afterwards and have food.
Yeah.
And it was about a 45-minute drive away from home, so we just spent the whole day down there.
Okay.
And then we'd have evening, youth and evening service, and then we'd drive back home. So every Sunday for, I don't know, from time I was born, it was all day, and in between, I'd have little sheds and practice and, get with musicians from other churches. And, you know what I mean? The first band I ever played in was out of my church. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. All right. So you go to college. After college, you go to Philly.
Yeah.
Now, how was the transition musically? Because I know when I started hanging out with the cats from Philly, everything changed. It was just another culture.
Yeah.
How did it affect a young man from Connecticut with Haitian background? Now you're in Philadelphia.
It was everything I thought it would be. So I chose to move to Philly out of, a lot of my peers who didn't go to school in New York were moving to New York. And I was like, I'd grown up going to New York, being Haitian. I have lots of family there, so I was going all the time. So I wasn't necessarily pressed to be in the city. And I don't know, I just didn't, it sounds weird to say, but I didn't feel ready yet.
No,
you know what I mean?
I got you.
It was like, when I pull up there, you finna know that I'm playing bass.
I'm ready, I'm here.
And I knew when I was leaving college that I wasn't ready.
Right.
I had a professor who was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be a pro. You're a pro already." I was like, I don't know if you ever heard of pro, my brother. Like, that ain't me yet. I hear you. Like I could play fast and I could do other stuff, but I knew that I didn't know, but I didn't know what I didn't know.
I got you. I got you.
So I was like, I'm gonna go somewhere where all my favorite bass players to that point were from Philadelphia. And
who? Name a couple.
Christian McBride.
Right.
Jimmy Merritt.
Yep.
Percy Heath.
Yeah.
Reggie Workman.
What is it about the bass? What is it about? Because that's not a thing. You don't see that too many people of color playing, black folks playing bass.
Well, you know what it is? It's the instrument that is most aligned with the voice in the band.
Yeah.
Because it's a single note instrument that is very much tied to the form of the song, very much tied to the flow of the song, keeps the common thread between the rest of the instruments in the band that can, the piano can play multiple notes and the drums can play multiple notes. Yeah. And then you got this bass that's just like weaving through, and there's a certain kind of musicality and discipline that it takes. Yeah. And it's very much tied to the drum. And to me, that's why the Philadelphia bassist is so great, because the Philadelphia drummer is one of the greatest in the world.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that kind of training is really, that's what I got when I got to Philly. I mean, immediately I was, no, not immediately. It took me a little while.
Right. It took you 10,000 hours, right?
You know what I mean? It took me a little while. I was hanging out. So I moved to Philadelphia. And I was just telling my homie this the other day. I moved to Philly. I didn't know anybody here. I didn't know anyone.
Right.
I was staying with a friend of the family, like renting a room from them. And I went to the library every day. I just free library in Philadelphia, read books, checked out, was on the computer, and I learned about the Philadelphia Clef Club of jazz.
Okay.
And then I was down there every day. And I was just taking it in and meeting people, meeting Lovett Hines and Donald Gardner and all these folks who were really, really, Edgar Bateman.
Did they pour into you?
Did they? Man, there's this brother, Edgar Bateman, and Julian Presley. Yeah. Edgar's a drummer. He's an ancestor now, and Julian's an alto saxophone player. And they used to get together every Thursday to play duo in a room at the Clef Club. And they met me and were like, oh, come on. And so a couple weeks in a row I played. And then maybe like the fourth or fifth week I had a rehearsal there, but I was playing my electric bass. And so we finished the rehearsal and I was just hanging out and Mr. Bateman's in the hallway. He's like, oh, you not coming today? I was like, oh, well, I got my electric bass. He's like, well, you better pull up with that thing, Right. And I was like, oh, wow. Because in my mind, those are two separate worlds.
Okay.
You don't do that.
Right.
Really, I've had
it was the cardinal sin.
I had educators that were like, well, that's not swinging.
Oh. Okay. All right.
And while it's true, you've heard people who are not swinging on electric bass, but that's because they're not culturally involved with what's going on.
Understood. Understood.
So things like that, it seems like a small moment, but it was huge for me.
Okay.
To just like kind of break this barrier, be like, okay, cool,
And in breaking that barrier, did that like eventually change the way that you wrote or composed your music?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely did because it made me, it showed me that music is music. So it doesn't have to be spang, dang, 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 dang. It doesn't always have to be, you could actually like, dang, 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 dang. Like we could, there's different ways we could do this thing that's more than just a style.
The average way.
Yeah,
the average way.
Right, you know what I mean? We have these various marketing terms that we use for better or for worse. You know what I mean? Like that help to get things out to people and get people to understand what they're coming into. But at the end of the day, it's just 12 notes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's starting to understand that Philadelphia is great for that because you can go to a place and they ask to hear "So What," and then they ask to hear "Betcha by Golly Wow."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they want to hear some Teddy P.
Yeah.
And it's all got to be righteous. It's not. You can't just be half stepping and be like, oh, we're just gonna. No, that doesn't work. Yeah. Stevie Wonder now, and it better be
Stevie Wonder. Now.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
So that was really, it's really instrumental. I could say that for sure. I would have never understood that thread, because now we're watching Teddy P earlier, and I'm like, oh man, the horns are just like.
I watched you. You blanked out for a minute.
Yeah.
You just.
I was
stood
in there.
And that leads me. And that's a great transition, segue into your creative process. Because I watch you just as a creative, we do that, right? Yeah. We pick up little things and be like, damn, maybe next time I need to add a little bit more horns. Maybe next time I need to go back and see what it's doing. What's your creative process? What's your creative process?
I have a very interesting creative process. Because I'm a bass player. And I love to play bass, and I love to play in people's bands and do that. Much of my creative process is just taking things in. Right. Learning music, learning different ways. Some people I sing background vocals for. Some people I got to do a little two-step behind them. You know what I mean? Some people I'm just standing there and just being like a suited upright bass player.
Yeah.
And just being solid, So like taking all of that in, and then it's like June 19th at the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival. Like, what's going on? Okay, it's Juneteenth. Well, I've got this project called Black Wonders of the World. I talked about Billy Paul a little bit. Yeah. And I was like, well, you know what? And I've been trying to figure out what my sort of traditional jazz quintet project sound,
right,
were, all those things would be. And before I would call it the Black American Music Quintet, And I was like, I said, oh, we could do that. And I said, no, let's change it around. Well, Black Wonders Quintet. All right, well, what we finna play? It's Clifford Brown.
Yeah.
Daoud was vital to me learning this music and figuring out like, oh, there's joy here.
Right.
You listen to Clifford Brown, that's like, okay, we're gonna bring that in a couple. I named my bass after a song that I heard him play before. So we're gonna do that one, and just a couple different things. When it comes, I have a song called Mocha that we played last night. And that came.
Beautiful piece.
Thank you, man.
Amazing piece.
Thank you. Some of that that came in pieces. Like the intro came at one time.
Yep.
When I was sitting at the piano. Sometimes you're playing at the piano and you're doing a thing, and it was like there. Okay, cool. And then the rest of it just.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit more to that, and that's the other part is creative process sometimes is momentary in the moment.
Yeah.
We were in sound check yesterday and we got through about half the tune, and I was like, you know what, y'all? That's how much of it we're gonna play today. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah, no, we're good.
Okay.
We got it. This is a statement.
Yeah.
And like you said, they came to play yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. Play no games.
They came to play yesterday from sound check. From sound check, everybody was dialed in, and I was like, oh yeah, let's not even. Whatever your plans are, at some point you're gonna have to let them go, brother, and just be in the moment. This is the moment that you prepared for.
Spirituality or religion? What is it for you?
Oh, spirituality, 100%.
Yeah. Does that, and I know it does have a huge impact on who you are as a person and your craft and your music.
Yeah, for sure, it does. Prayer and meditation for me are essential to being centered and being open to what is creatively what can happen, and I do believe that I'm in a calling. It's not a job. Like there are parts of this that are a job, and I don't mind, but there's a huge part of this that's a calling. And if you're going to walk in a calling, there's got to be you got to have a king size bed to lay back on. So for me, spirituality, like I said, prayer, meditation, exercise. These things are really important to just me being prepared to be the vessel of the art for the moment.
Have you ever made a piece? Have you ever created something in the midst of you going through a hard time in your life, and the piece that you created was your key to get out?
Not yet, but maybe I need to.
Okay. I met, I can't remember the gentleman's name. He was about 85 years old, and he was the gentleman that created the theme for the Cosby Show. And I'm fascinated with speaking to the older people. Fascinated, deeply fascinated. Yeah. And I'm like, how, why, when, what was it like?
Right.
Like I'm infatuated with Studio 54. I do not know why. I think because it was just a spot that people could go and be themselves.
Yeah.
But I sat there with this gentleman and I talked to him and I said, what was it like? Growing up. There's another gentleman named Ellis Hall, good friend of mine.
Yeah, I know Ellis.
You know Ellis?
I played with Ellis. Ellis is my phone.
Ellis
man.
calls me twice a week.
Well, that's my homie.
Just to check on me.
That's
right?
my homie.
And he told me, he gave me Ellis is just an amazing soul. But this other gentleman, he told me, he said, Ivan, when I grew up, in the 40s, right? And he said it was hard, 50s, and he said it was hard. And he said, when the rent was due, I would make a song. When I had a heartbreak, I would make a song. And he said because I was so broke, those are the things that made me happy. And he said, then if I make a song or I put pieces together, I'm performing it live on stage, just like how you said, it'll just come to me.
Yeah.
It's like pulling things out of a file cabinet. And he
Yeah.
said, and the next thing you know, I'm in a better place because of that heartbreak, of that necessity that needed to be met.
Yeah.
I created something beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I asked you, have you ever got to that point that you're like, you know what? Let me just go to the lab. Let me go in.
You know, I must say, composing music is probably the least organic part of my artistry right now. It's very much deadline based.
Okay.
For the most part.
Okay.
You know, I do a lot of improvising, and I do a lot of arranging for folks. So I'll take other people's music and I'll get in some sort of order, and we'll find a live or a studio version, and go from there. And I'd work with various artists that way. But I'm thinking about what you're saying about using those moments and using pain and seeing what comes out. Because that's something, dealing with hardship, is something that I think when we are artists, we underestimate how much it affects us.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like putting your pain on that album.
Yeah.
I remember when I got into this, I was at a Buddhist temple, right? And the lady walks up to me and she's like, "Do you understand the power of pictures?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "Pictures have what we call still energy." And when I started looking at energy, right, I was just looking at it how it can't be created, right? Can't be destroyed. It can just be transferred.
Right.
So like my first picture that I ever took was a couple holding hands, and that same energy that I felt, like he was speaking words to her without even verbally saying anything. And it was, "I got you, I love you." And she was like, "I'm here for it, I love you, I got you, I'm here to protect you." And I was like, I became on a search for that energy through other photos, right? Or photography or cinematography. And like even now, I'm looking for that energy. Because I want people to feel the love or feel the moment. Like last night, I grabbed the camera and I just turned everything in black and white in the camera and just start shooting because it's that energy and that mood of how everything can be transferred. And that's the reason I asked, because your music, it is more of, to me last night, it was like a roadmap, right? Roadmap to just, oh my God, this is where this is a place where I can go and chill. I can go and feel good. I don't gotta hear anything. I just need to hear, like you said, that bass, that boom, 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 boom. And when you play it, man, oh my God, it was profound. You was and I said to my man I was standing next to, I said, he tapped in. He tapped into something. He's tapped in. And then the quartet. The sister on the horn.
Milena Casado is her name, man. She's dope. Really, listen to Chief yesterday, the way he was introducing his band, talking about how these folks are some of the new voices on their instrument, and new because just we don't know, we haven't known about them yet. I don't like to really refer to the age number so much because like. Right. You know what I mean? Like if we do that, we're kind of discounting the work. Like that person might have been on this earth for I don't even know what the number is, but let's just say the number is 23 years. But guess what? They've been playing that horn for 20 of them. That's 20 years of experience. You know what I'm saying? Or like whatever it is, you can't discount the years even. Yeah, they might not know like how to balance a checkbook. That's all right. But here we are right here.
This is the place they own.
Yeah, this is the place they own. And who else? Shami Royston really won. That's our piano player from last night.
Killed it. Yeah.
Man, I am so happy and proud to play music with her.
Yeah.
She's just a phenomenal piano player and a great person.
I turned that corner. I heard it because I was backstage. I turned that corner, came up to look, and sis was going in. She was just. It was like Like if she would have done this would have been music to your ears. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. And Lee Pearson, I'm either going to talk about people for 5 minutes,
right,
or I'm going to just give them a quick little.
Yeah.
Lee plays in Chris Bodie's band.
Wow.
And, I say that because, and he played for the Yellow Jackets. He's played for some groups that are essential to the fabric of music in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a heavy responsibility that he bears, and with joy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they came down Wilmington, tore it up.
15 crowd, and I think the crowd last night was around about a little bit over 1,000.
Oh man,
maybe a lot. I think it was one of the biggest crowds they had when they first started.
Oh.
And this, it's going in the record that this might be the best jazz festival in 37 years.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, we'll talk about the lineup in a second. Let me just mention Tim Green, the great alto player we had with us last night. He's another one of those cats. I've been hearing Tim's name forever.
Yeah.
Just like just plays the music.
Yeah.
Plays the music through his instrument.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed to playing his instrument on the music.
Yeah, that's different. That's a difference.
It's different, man.
Yeah.
And like I said, everybody just had that thing last night.
It was if you missed it, you missed an offering to the soul last night. And then after you, then Chief came on. It was in the words of the old R&B singer, the perfect combination.
Yeah, man.
That was insane.
And Chief really, I talked about him a little bit during my set last night. But the way there's a calmness, there's a stillness to him.
Yeah.
That is really admirable, and to watch the band last night, I've seen many iterations of that band, and every band has its sound, the support that he gives everybody, the way that he interacts with everyone, watching that set last night was really, really inspiring. And then, he's playing instruments that he invented.
Come on. When I found that out last night, right? I was going around telling everybody, I'm like, yo, boy, you invented that, man. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And it sounded angelic. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man. And the last thing I'll say about Chief is that the way that he represents the Louisiana culture, the New Orleans culture, not just in a halfway way.
He showed up.
He showed up. Yeah. And the drum is forefront in his band. He's got guitar because rock is our thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's got Morgan Guerin, who's over there playing drums, saxophone, keys, all at high levels.
This was the face that he got from me last night.
Yeah.
From you. And then I was like, yo, I know that. Yeah. Straight genius.
It was awesome.
You got a new album?
No, you know what? This is my first album.
This your first one?
This is my first album. We're working on the second one now. Yeah, sure.
This is your first one?
This is my first album. That's MDR. That came out in 2018.
Okay.
On Imani Records. MDR means Music and Dance Revisited.
Okay, I heard you say something about revisited yesterday.
Yeah. That's Music and Dance Revisited. So the I like to say the marketing term jazz. Sometimes at some point and for some reason, there's not always the dance is not always presumed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, it should be.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The dance is not always presumed, and in its presentation, so it's some of that energy is gone. As musicians, if we're not presuming dance, then we don't give. There's something else.
Right.
There's something else. If somebody's gonna start dancing, it's gonna tighten us all up together. So I was thinking, all right, well, I'm gonna put this album out specifically in the lane of jazz, but with the idea that this is going to make people dance, and not necessarily two-step or or bop or anything. You could do that too to some of that stuff, but it's about the soul. It's about the movement. It's about intending soul movement. So that's what I called it, Music and Dance Revisited.
I love it. Music and Dance Revisited. Let me ask you this. There's love in there's some people that are in love with something. There's some people that fall in love with something. Where are you at right now with it? Are you in love with the psychology, the philosophy, or the performance of music?
Right now, I guess I'd have to say the philosophy, and I say that because there is like music to me is is an important part of like the social fabric of the world.
Okay.
Right, and it's got different uses. So how do we? For me, the question is, where do all those uses fit? What do I mean by that? Well, I think one of my favorite things to play is like a cocktail party, background gig, whatever.
Okay.
Because it takes a certain kind of thing for that to be good.
Yeah.
The reason why we're there is for people to talk to each other.
Yeah.
To feel comfortable in a room like this, and their voices aren't just bouncing off the walls, and they could understand. And then when they need something to talk about, oh, is that a Stevie Wonder song? Oh my God. And so for me, I can't show up to that and be like, oh my God, background, another corporate background. If that's how you feel, for me, then just go do the thing that you love to do. Now, once we do that, the thing that you love to do may not be commercially viable.
Right.
So you might have to get a job.
Right.
Would you rather have a job, or would you rather come play this corporate gig?
Right.
So come have some joy over here, please.
Hey.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you don't want to be a plumber.
Right. And you can play bass on the side.
And play bass on the side.
Right.
You could play that one thing that you love to do.
There you go.
You could really can. You could. It might take you 15 years because this music business is rough.
Yeah.
It's going to take you 10, 15 years maybe because your thing is weird and you don't know exactly how to market it yet, and you need management, but you can't afford it. There's a whole bunch of things you need. But if you get a job, you can do that. You have a check. You'll have your...
You play once a month.
You play once a month, and it's going to be great. And you can pay everybody really well, and you don't have to worry about the door and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's kind of a philosophy thing.
Yeah.
Because now we roll back, and we have people who are like, well, I don't like to do this, and I don't like to do that. Listen, like I said to you, there's sometimes that I show up in the door, and it is a job. Yeah. I'm punching the clock, and I'm punching it joyfully. Yeah. That means that it's customer service. It's upright backs, it's shaking hands, and when that's done, I'm finna put some sneakers on and go do my thing because I knew I came here to do this particular thing, and I knocked it out. Yeah. So that I can come down here and have a good time and know that these things are different.
Well, you definitely had a good time. You definitely transferred that energy of a barbecue, a family reunion, church, and dance to the people, because again, just watching, and I know it's kind of hard when you're performing on stage to see how the audience is receiving your message, right? But for me to tell you, they were receiving it really well.
I appreciate that.
When you have music that can break the law of racism, the barriers of racism, and have white people, black people, Hispanic people, all types of different people, Republicans, Democrats, dancing and nodding their head and enjoying it. That's what they were doing last night here in Wilmington, Delaware.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. These types of festivals, Chief and I were talking about this in between our sound checks. This festival here, and we play all sorts of different ones, but there's something about these kinds of festivals where the people are showing up.
Yeah, they're showing up.
The people are
they're
showing up.
They're out there now waiting. They waiting now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're showing up. They're coming like this. You know what I mean? And in the various ways, I met a couple of sisters yesterday who were celebrating somebody's birthday. And so she dragged her 2 girlfriends out, and they had a great time, and they're walking back to the car, and we got to talk to her a second. You know, like those kinds of interactions and experiences. I've played Newport. Yeah. Newport is great. Newport is awesome. People also come to Newport with a certain kind of openness and ready to like experience this thing. But every that's the social construct of this music.
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
That's when I'm at Newport, a lot of the time I don't get to mix and mingle with the folks because there's a lot of that and we have to move around and it's really quick. And if you're playing 2 things or whatever and you want to see all the shows and you're hanging out with your friends, but it's nice to have that energy to and also having been in this area. You know, like, so I already know. Philadelphia is my favorite city to play music in.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. Every time I'm there for tour, it's always great.
It's always great.
Yeah.
And Delaware, and it is. This is one of an amazing event that, again, and shout out to Tina Betts from the mayor's office.
Oh, yeah.
This is Tina's baby. Tina put this together 37 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, this is her baby.
Yeah.
She took time off of in the administration and came back, and we're back at it.
Amazing.
Yeah, so
amazing.
Shout out to Tina Betts in the mayor's office.
Shout out to Tina, indeed.
Yeah. All right, bro. I know you got to go. Johnathan, thank you so much,
Thank you
for stopping by and just having a conversation with the kid.
No problem.
And whatever we can do on our end
Appreciate you, man.
Owning the media.
Yeah. Let's go.
I heard I heard it this morning. Collaboration is so much better than competition.
Yes, indeed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so anyway, and I offer an olive branch of whatever we can do. Consider it done.
Thank you,
to spread your word and your good music.
Thank you. Actually, can I mention just one thing?
Yes, please.
So on August 31st, Imani Records, which is the label that I put this album on, which is a independent music label owned by Orrin and Dawn Evans, based out of Philadelphia. We're hosting our first jazz festival, August 31st, in Washington Township, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philly. And if you go to the Imani Records Facebook page, you'll find all the information. That's probably the quickest way I could do it. I've got I could give you a link, you know, for tickets and stuff. But I just want to mention that because it's an all-day festival. Tickets are $50, and it's all artists from the label and people that are associated with the label. And it's just a good time. We throw good parties, you know. We did something during the pandemic. It was called Club Patio.
Oh, shoot. So
we would just live stream concerts from Orrin's patio, and you know the live. You know it was during the shutdown, so it was definitely a smaller scale thing. You know, and then we've done it a couple times since then. It's at a larger scale. You know, like basically a barbecue, and so it's cool. So if you look up Imani Records Club Patio, look up Imani Records Club Patio Day. It's August 31st, 2024.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's your camera right there.
Okay.
Go ahead, knock it out. Tell them what you got popping.
All right. What's up, y'all? So on August 31st in Washington Township, Pennsylvania, you have the wonderful opportunity. We have the wonderful opportunity to share with you the Imani Records Club Patio Day Festival. And on that day, you're going to hear artists like David Gibson and Marianne Sullivan and Orrin Evans and Thomas Marriott. Imani Records is a Black-owned independent label based out of Philadelphia, run by Orrin and Dawn Evans. My debut album, MDR, which is right here, you can find it there. And we just want to share the love. We love to say you need to get your daily dose of vitamin M. And so you can get that all day on August 31st in White Marsh, PA, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philly. And we'll see you there. Tickets are available through the Imani Records Facebook page and a link that will be provided to you.
There we go.
Hey,
check the link, check the comments, and then we'll put the link in the description in the comments.
Awesome.
Brother, thank you again for stopping by. All right, tell people where they can follow you at and all that good stuff.
Sure. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all the things at AYITI Base. That's Haiti Base. Haiti is the ancestral name for Haiti, before the people who saved Columbus in 1492. they're the Arawak people, and they called it Aitsi, which means land of many hills. If I'm mistaken, land of many mountains. If I'm not mistaken. So Ayti Aitsi base. That's where you find me, and please do check me out. I'm playing all the time, and we'll do it again.
There we go. I love it.
Thank you, brother.
All right, thank you. It's your main man, Big Eye, the Talking to Tell, Mr. DETVCH.com. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. Yes. And make sure that you follow us on Mondays and Wednesdays. Matter of fact, I think it's every day in the Dennis. Yeah, 10 o'clock a.m. for Good Morning Wilmington. Hey. All right, I'll see you on the other side of greatness. And remember, love someone, clothe someone, but most of all, forgive yourself. It's your main man, Big Eye, and my man, Johnathan Michel.
Yes, yes.
And we out of here like swimwear from last year.
Peace, y'all.
And all that good stuff.
Yes, yes.